Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, everyone. This is Mr. Middlepath. You know, I was thinking about this moment that I had with my friends. We were all hanging out, and I was feeding my son at the time. He was 2 years old, and he was eating with me. And one of my friends was with me too, and we were enjoying the moment. And then another one of my friends came, and his eyes opened wide, and he said, "Whoa, like, oh my God, you're feeding your son? That's what women are supposed to do." He didn't say any of that, but I knew exactly what he meant from his facial expression. And then another friend of mine joked and said, "Oh, welcome to America." So then I looked at them and I said, if the Prophet ﷺ were with me, he would be on my side. Now, why am I saying this? And I explained to him, I said, my son was crying for his father and said, "Baba, I want to be with Baba, I want to eat with Baba." So why would I say, go to your mom and eat with your mom? I don't want you with me. Just because it's considered effeminate or a certain type of way. Why would I break the bond that I have with my child just because of social conventions? And if you want to even take a red pill approach, isn't it the opposite of being an alpha male to let other people tell you what to do? If I want to eat with my son, I'm going to eat with my son. And if I want my son to sit with me and eat with me because he wants to, because I love him, I'm going to do that. It reminds me of the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, where a Bedouin man is coming and seeing the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ playing with his grandchildren and kissing them. And the man said, "You kiss your kids?" I have, there's different versions of the hadith, but basically he's saying, we don't kiss our kids, specifically the boy children, we don't kiss them. And the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ tells him, "What can I do for you if Allah has removed the mercy out of your heart?" Because it's not natural, right? Now, I want us to pause for a moment because I know some people are thinking, "Nah, man, but like, that the wife should be taking care of that, the woman should be taking care of that." I want us to pause and reflect on a quote we always hear, which is, "It takes a village to raise a child." And that's true. And everyone's situation is different. Maybe you do have that village. Maybe the kid is surrounded by cousins and aunts and uncles, and there's enough aunts to play with him and he can eat with the woman. Or maybe there's enough uncles to distract him so that the man can just, finish his meal in peace, right? But a lot of the times we're lacking in that village, especially if you live in the West. And you have governments and companies pouring millions, if not billions of dollars to get them, your children, to be like them, right? To be in the camp of shaitan. And the only way to combat this is to develop a deep bond with them. And that involves doing the things that might be considered effeminate, that people might look down upon, like eating with them, like hanging out with them, like maybe even changing their diaper from time to time. And I'll tell you, and it sounds, oh my God, change your kid's diaper? Oh my God, how could you do that? I've been a teacher, now coming up on my 4th year, and I've had time to develop bonds with all of these kids and speak with their parents on a deeper level. The happiest, most well-adjusted kids who are good at sports, physically strong, socially charismatic, popular, and have good grades, all have very highly involved fathers. And they'll admit to me, "Oh, my dad made my lunch today," And they're not saying it because I'm asking them. It's just let slip. They're being natural. They're just saying, "Oh yeah, dad made my lunch today. Look, he gave me this and this and this." Whatever it was, sandwich or noodles or whatever it was. And that made me pause and it made me reflect. These are the highest functioning kids in our school, right? So that proves something, that this mentality is the same mentality of, "Oh, I don't want to touch my kid's diaper, I don't want to feed my kid, that's all the women stuff," is the same mentality that Bedouin had, that the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ said, "What can I do for you if the mercy has been ripped out of your heart?" Right? And the word used is naza'a, right? Naza'a means removed forcefully, because it's not natural for you not to have that mercy. We really have to rethink the way that we're looking at this and we're approaching this. Because, for example, in the past, a man wouldn't be with his wife when she was giving birth. And there's a reason for that. Because you had a bunch of, again, because it takes a village to raise a child, you had a bunch of women with her supporting the wife. She didn't need to have her husband. Nowadays, we don't have that village. The doctor who you never met before is not your village. You go to him and you'll hear some horror stories. I've had a person I know who his wife was giving birth, and the doctors could see the head, but they took those, what's it called, those calipers, like those giant tweezers. It's called forceps, my bad, forceps. They took the forceps, gripped the head, took the baby out, now that baby has a scar, and she still has it, right? His daughter still has a scar because they weren't patient enough to just let the wife give birth. And this is not just some story. In America, at least, a woman has a 50% chance, a pregnant woman going to the hospital to give birth has a 50% chance of getting a C-section just by being there, with nothing to do with her health, nothing to do with whether she needed a C-section, nothing to do with whether she was healthy or unhealthy. Just by simply being in the hospital, she'd get a C-section, right? So that shows you that we live in a predatory system. You cannot afford to think in that way, right? The textbook way of thinking, because we're not in a textbook situation. You're gonna go to the doctor, you're not gonna be there, or you're gonna go to the hospital, you're not gonna be there. You better be there. You should be there. If you're a man, you'll be there. Your kid wants to eat, do it, right? Bond with them so that you can build them up later when you're training them. Why should your kid copy you praying if you're not taking the time to be with him when he needs you? So these are some things for us to reflect upon. And obviously everyone is going to have their opinions, but these are my own, and I've seen it play out in the real world in this way. And we will see the fruits of it, inshallah. People who put that time and effort will see the fruits of it. Will see the fruits of this investment in their children in the future. People who don't will see that investment too. You reap what you sow. You give harshness, you will get harshness. It may take decades for the kid to grow up, but eventually everyone will reap what they sow, especially when it comes to parenting and child raising. Take care. Peace out. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.